Yeah, actually, and I just wanted to say, my sorry, my background's in computer science, and coming into this world given the opportunity to come into this world of marine science and biology and ecology has just been such an amazing experience. I never would have dreamed to have had this opportunity, so I just want to thank everyone involved in this project. Yeah, thank you.
All right, stay here, Dan, and Matt and Nick come up because there's bound to be questions. Matt, I don't know how you did it, but you have managed to cut time for questions and answers. So, so now's your opportunity to ask any of our experts here any questions you may have. We've got about 10 minutes. Can I ask you either grab with this microphone, or I'll run it around, or the presenters, the questionees, can repeat it.
Daniel, yeah.
Yeah, just wondering how much data on the total depth use you got back from the acoustic tags, and wondering why you selected the acoustic tags over the satellite tags to provide the depth data.
Is this on? Yep. So it wasn't me who primarily chose this, but I'll say my understanding was that we chose acoustic tags primarily because we get a higher resolution of data compared to the satellite tags. So currently, with the satellite tags, the way that, the recovered ones that we have set up, we're only getting, I think, measurements it'll sort of be like on a block, it'll be every minute and a half, I think, the ones that I've got, and it will go for about 6 hours, and then we'll stop, and then it will go for another block, and then it will stop. Whereas these acoustic tags, we're able to, while they're within that acoustic array, like within that vicinity, we're able to get, every seconds, basically. A much, much higher resolution. Colby, I don't know where he's gone, he was here, but he would know. What? And cost, yeah. Well, yeah, when you think of a satellite tag, what are they, $5,500? Yeah, but I don't know, the acoustic tags are still, they were $700, $800, $900 each anyway. Yeah. So.
But we got 28 of them.
That is true. A lot of them were donated, I actually say, by Rich as well, which that helped a lot. Yeah, and 3 sat tags back at the moment. Yeah, so I would say as well, with all the sat tags that Matt has out on those nesting females and the others, a lot of them didn't have a depth sensor. Sorry, so we couldn't get that same resolution of depth usage that I'm after, I guess. Yeah, and sorry, what was your other question at the start? There was one other. No, that was it. Okay. Yeah.
Nick, this is one for you. Just if you know the error in the AI, is there a chance to use that error and have a much larger field of assessment, and then say, we'll do a relatively accurate?
I'll just say quickly, within my detection probability experiments with the decoys, what I'm actually also integrating in, I didn't really touch on it at all, I'm comparing human observers to AI, so we can sort of quantify that, what's the error differences between the two, because if we're moving forward to using AI, we need to be able to quantify that error and know, how to correct our raw count, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That was fast. One question, it comes with the acoustic array. So you have set up like an acoustic array basically for the acoustic tags.
The acoustic array?
Yeah. So how often are they outside of this area? Because this is of course like a limitation, right, of this method. I
wouldn't be able to say for the turtles currently because I haven't gotten into that data, but Colby might actually, he would know for the whale sharks, but yeah, I guess they're more moving. Would you know?
I guess one way that we evaluate that is from the known home ranges from our satellite tag turtles, and that gives us confidence that, if we've tagged, what did we tag? 40 with acoustic tags with the depth, 26 with acoustic tags, then a large proportion of those are going to spend the year inside the array, because the biggest turtles have a home range that was a couple of square kilometres. The small ones was less than a square kilometre, so they don't go very far. And our array is much bigger than that.
Yeah, there's also one that we catch every year, isn't there? That one turtle that's in the same place every year. We've got a number. Number 5, that's right. 5 times I think we've had that one, yes. On the same patch.
Yeah, I've got a question about your image processing side of things. Because you're using drones, is there any opportunity to use other than visible spectrum so you can manage the glare and whatnot?
Yes, well, Paul Branson behind you, we do actually have a couple of mica sensors now and some multispectral cameras. We started off this with basically a consumer drone because we were looking at how would you basically use this as either a citizen science or transfer across to Deep or somebody else doing the surveys. As soon as you get into the multispectral stuff, the cost goes horrendously expensive, and it's quite a bit of processing. But I think Paul could probably speak to that better.
So on the last turtle survey, we tagged along, myself and a fellow researcher named Rodrigo Garcia, with the iCoast project, which is the collaborative projects happening within the building. And we took up a multispectral camera and thermal camera and so forth. And it is pretty clear in some of the multispectral bands, you get a much clearer image with a lot less clutter and so forth. So yeah, that's early days, but it's definitely something we want to look into further.
I was going to say, I remember you showing me actually there was some images where you were able to actually detect, it might have been a shark or a turtle, and on the visible spectrum, we just couldn't even see it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was showed, the turtle was over the green habitats, so you couldn't see it in the visible imagery, but it was clearly visible in the near infrared.
Yeah.
How you going, fellas? You each mentioned a lot about the importance of this work, and it's a huge volume of work over 10 years of informing conservation and management. Have you got any examples where it has informed conservation and management?
That is a very, very good question, Pete. You always come up with the best questions. So, look, there's ways that we think about how it informs conservation and management, and I know you and I have had this conversation a couple of times. So there's the tactical side of the day-to-day. You know, a manager needs to make a decision about what resource to deploy today, tomorrow, next week, next month. You know, and the sort of work that we're doing is not going to be very useful for that. Or not as useful for that. So the other side of it is the strategic kind of management. So that is the marine park management plans, and how you think about what are the KPIs that you need to be measuring. And so one of the things that I started scratching my head around is how do you measure trends in abundance, which is a KPI in the Ningaloo Marine Park Management Plan. Now, the trends in the way that it's being done at the moment is perfectly reasonable. It's the counts of nesting female tracks that's done every season as part of the Ningaloo turtle program. Now, as we've talked about, so by the time those female turtles are ready to nest, they're already 30 years old. And so there could be changes that are happening elsewhere in the domain which are affecting turtles for 20 years that you don't even notice. So that's where, so I'm eventually going to answer your question as part of my ramble. So where we expect this information to be useful is when the Ningaloo Marine Park Management Plan gets updated. Now, I think we know that it's due, right? It was due a little while ago. And so, that's what we're aiming for. So not for that tactical, but for that strategic, and so the opportunity for the strategic, I think, we thought was going to come earlier in this project than it actually has. There are delays, life's like that, and so there's putting that information into the Marine Park Management Plan. Then in terms of the National Turtle Recovery Plan, now that's pretty recent. So it's a matter of reading through that, looking at what are they saying are those information gaps, and collecting that information so that when the recovery plan is updated, when it's reviewed, then we've got that information ready. And so, you know, this information is all intended to be publicly accessible, so when that opportunity comes up, then it's there. So have I at least partially answered your question? You can drill me a bit more if you like.
So you're saying it hasn't informed management conservation yet, but it is aimed to inform management conservation in the future. Is that what you're saying?
It's ready.
It's ready.
Is what I'm trying to say. It's ready when those frameworks are ready. And at the moment, as I say, with, for example, that management plan, which is due for revision and updating, it's ready.
And have you got a mechanism to deliver that information to the...
Well, the mechanism at the moment, those management plan updates are the mechanisms, as best I understand it, they're informal, and so it's being part of those informal networks. Now, if there are more formal ways that occurs, then I would be very delighted to know. But as far as I know, that, you know, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will.
Sorry, Pete. That was a great question. Just wanted to add, it's about aligning the timeframes of the. These things are hopeless. Oh, it was? Okay. Yeah, aligning the timeframes so that the results of the research. So, you know, for example, you take a major target species like Spangos nebulosus, and, you know, there's been some great research which demonstrates that recruitment is strongly linked with things like what's Southern Oscillation Index. Now, that should be incorporated into management, but it's one of those things that, as far as I'm aware, hasn't been incorporated into management because, you know, for like with most things, when you know there's a recruitment pulse, you're probably going to see the results of that in the years to come. And, you know, that's a major target species. So, you know, that's a good example of really useful research that, you know, is difficult to implement probably in the time frame that it should be. So yeah, it's a good conversation to how to align the results of the research with the ability of management to actually, you know, change the rules as needed.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the questions. Obviously there's you know, the science leading to management is the dream here. Can you all thank Matt